have all the bolts out, and they're in the same pattern as they were when they came out. Now we're going to crack the case. As soon as I put those over in their good spot. So let's loosen it up. As you can see, it's already starting to come loose. And you can hear it. I just need to be careful. Well, now it's out. Here it is. Let's look at the bearings. This bearing doesn't feel so bad. We're going to go ahead and clean all this up and replace this bearing, and we're going to replace the bearing that's on the other side of this. I'm trying to warm the case a little bit because, as you guys saw, this side was being extremely stubborn. A couple things about this is I put this nut back on so that when I hit it I don't damage the threads. I put the nut back on the other side so that all the moving around I do, it doesn't damage the threads. And something else you want to be aware of is it's got a couple of these alignments. There's one that goes here, and if you look over here, there's one right here in the top. So these will fall out when you're working on this. So be aware of those parts and don't lose them. So it's a little, I warmed the case just a little bit. I hope that's enough for it to push it out. That's it. While that's cooling off, I want to point out a couple things. As you can see way inside there, there's the seal. What you need to do is take good note of where the seal is sitting. And the reason is because it just is in there. It's not tied up against a groove or anything. So when you pop it out and you go to put it back in, you don't know if it goes in this far, out this far, or where it goes. So you just take good note. And probably what I will do is take a marker or a pin in here and mark this inside here, and hopefully I can get it right back to where it's at. And same thing with the other one. Just take a good note of where it's sitting. It's right at the end of this groove going down. I don't know what you would call that. It's right there. So when you put the other one in, you know that it's in the exact same spot as the other one, and it rides properly, so you don't have any leaks. So I'm going to mark this one, and then I'm going to start pushing these out. Well, I got a mark in there on this one. It's kind of hard to see. I put it in there with a Sharpie, fine point Sharpie. Hopefully that'll help me line it up when I go to put the other one back in. I pulled the two alignment studs out, and I got an 18 socket. Knock that seal right out of there. For this one here, I think what I'm going to go ahead and do, and you also got to be aware of your alignments for the case cover, the one that goes there. The other one here is stuck in there, so I don't need to worry about that. And you could probably use a socket. There's that same 18 socket. Let me see. Well, it was a little tighter than I expected it to be, so I'm going to heat the case from the back side, and then I'm going to go ahead and use my 21 millimeter again, maybe a little bit bigger one, but I'll try the 21 first. And my table, right in the center, it's not as secure, so see if I can get it out now. And I don't really have a good swing at it. There we go. And there's the bearing. Took a little bit of heat from the back side around the outside, and then a little bit of force, and the bearing pops out. The bearings are in the freezer right now to cool them down so they'll shrink, and then we're going to heat both sides of the cases up with the gun, and we're going to push the bearings back in. Something else I can do while we're waiting is they use Permatex to seal this, and there's some on both sides. It's very, very thin, it's hard to see, but it's there. So I'm going to go ahead and take some time out and clean this stuff off. Here's the crankshaft without the two bearings. You might wonder why I have this on there, because one of the bearings was really stubborn coming off. I tried everything I could, heat, cold, it didn't matter, it wouldn't come off. So I work on this stuff at night, and I don't have the ability to run out and grab tools, so I just used the Dremel. I cut it off. Worked out well. Next, what we're going to do is go ahead and install the seals. This is a brand new seal, and if you look inside there, you can see the black ring I made earlier to say where this goes, and also you can see the dark part in there, the dirty side, so we know where this is going to rest. What I did is I got a 19 millimeter socket, and it fits down in there really tight, so I'm going to use the 19 millimeter socket to push the seal in. I may start with just holding it in place and tapping it. Now, since I got it down flush, I'm going to go ahead and use my 19 millimeter socket, and that'll drive it in there straight. And what I want to do is look at the back side, and if you look on the back side, you can see that there's still some shiny stuff, shiny area that it needs to go in further. So you can match that up and then start on the other one. I'm going to do that right now. Well, it's in there where it's supposed to be, and I used the 19. And then I looked on the inside, and if you look on the inside, there's none of the clean part. I put it right up to the edge of the clean stuff. And if you go too far, you can always use your 19 socket on the other side, either this way or this way, and you just push it in, and you can push the seal back out a little bit. But now for the other side, we're going to do the exact same thing. We're going to press this in there. Closest I could find for the hole is a 22 millimeter. It's a deep socket. It should work. And we're going to press it till this edge right here is at the bottom of a bevel that's all the way around the edge here.